Okay, with that, I think that we are probably ready to press with the next session. We're going to be talking about IM1, which is the first intuitive machines mission. In the CLPS world, we know this as TO2IM and TO20C. So 20C is the task order that specifically had our RFMG payload on board, and TO2IM had the other one. So next slide, please. Okay, you saw a brief overview of this when Brad Bailey was talking earlier today, but in case you missed it, this is our current suite of payloads that we have going to the South Pole. You can see that today I'm talking right now about the Malapert A landing site for IM1 that happened in February of 2024. So next slide, please. And this is our quick quad chart overview that shows just the basics of the mission. So it was launched on a Falcon 9 on February 15th. It was just, and that's UTC, so it was just past Valentine's Day, so a great Valentine's Day gift for all of us. Landed on the 23rd, and just a special year that Surface Ops ended on February 29th. So kind of liked that. We had a manifest of 6 NASA payloads on board. There were additional payloads as well from commercial vendors, but we're not going to talk about that within this particular slide deck. The payloads include LN1, the Lunar Node 1 Navigation Demonstrator, LRA, which we've talked about already. NDL is the Navigation Doppler LiDAR, also was on Peregrine Mission 1. SCALPS, many of you have heard of, and is manifested on a lot of additional task orders as well. RFMG is that radio frequency mass gauge that gauges the propellant consumption, and then ROLS is the radio wave observations of the lunar surface of the photoelectron sheath. Just had to test myself to make sure that I could say that all in one breath. So that's the list of payloads that we have on board for IM1 on the NASA side. And I want to make note that we do have a number of payloads that are talking about their own payloads. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time myself on those. I'm going to let them take all the time and the glory for their overview. But the payloads that were unable to join us today, I'm going to talk about those payloads. So next slide, please. This gives you a view of several sides of what the lander actually looked like by the time we were done. You can see that there are miles and miles of cables and connections and solar panels, including the solar panel on the top that's tilted up because this was a South Pole mission. Next slide. And this next round just shows you some fun pictures. This is the launch on a Falcon 9. Next slide. This shows just after the lander was released from the SpaceX fairing. So this was, you can see, at 48 minutes and 46 seconds. And then from there on out, Intuitive Machines was on its own after what we call lunar vehicle separation, or LVSEP. Next slide. I love this picture because it looks like it's AI generated, but it's not. It looks like we have a gigantic lander that's landed on the Earth, but it really is a beautiful picture of the Earth and gives you a feel for the technology as we're leaving our home planet, and a beautiful view of the Earth. Next slide. Okay, so the first payload that I would want to mention is ROLS's, and we do have a talk coming up by Nat and Jack. And this particular payload was taking radio observations from the near side surface. They did have 4 antennas. You can see here that one of the antennas was deployed while we were in transit on the way to the moon. It was not designed to be deployed in transit. However, with the way that we needed to orient the spacecraft in order to work on some helium leaks, it meant that the temperature of the frangible got a bit high, and this antenna deployed. So one of the things I love about my payloads is, instead of taking this as some sort of an issue, they took it as an opportunity to get data in transit that they otherwise would not have gotten. Next slide, please. And here we have the Navigation Doppler LiDAR. I'll let them talk about their specifics, but we did try to get their data imported into the Intuitive Machines navigation GNC, guidance navigation and control, because we knew that the laser itself for Intuitive Machines was not enabled prior to launch, and we nearly got there. We just missed one flag to allow the data to go through. So navigation Doppler LiDAR did get some great data. Next slide. And that they will talk about. And then SCALPS is looking at the plume surface impingement. You see a beautiful picture that shows what happens to the surface of the moon as all of the dust is coming up. So next slide, please. Lunar Node 1. Okay, so this is one of our payloads that is not here to talk about their results, but this is a navigation payload, and en route to the moon, Intuitive Machines really wanted to get confirmation of their location in the sky, and we needed some extra help from the DSN network. Lunar Node 1 had those connections for us, and when I contacted them and asked if we could get some help from Lunar Node 1, Evan's answer was, we're a navigation payload, we're here to help. So this is very much like the Astrobotic Peregrine Mission 1 payloads, where our payloads are amazing, where we contact you, we ask you for help, NDL, LN1, the other payloads, to help us with the lander itself, and you're all willing to chip in and help us with ensuring that we get to the moon as safely as we can and with as much information. So they were a payload designed to get the MAPS data, which transfers both state and position to other vehicles for telemetry, as well as the PN, the pseudo-noise, one-way transmission of the PN ranging. So the picture on the right is a really good example of kind of the data as it's being translated back and forth between the ground station on the Earth, the different DSN stations, and up to the moon. So next slide, please. Operational results included successfully executed passes during both cruise as well as on the surface. They did get additional one-way Doppler tracking data for IM, as noted before, and they are going to continue on with their ground testing for future missions. Next slide, please. The LRA is going to be in its own session, I believe tomorrow, so they'll give you some more details, but this just gives you the big picture of the purpose of LRA to create a suite of fiducial markers on the moon so that in the future, when we need accurate landings, we have LRA on landers waiting for us. Next slide, please. So LRA itself is not yet been able to ping to IM-1's lander, but they still are hopeful that they can potentially ping to that. So I will let Dan speak to that tomorrow to see where they're at in their current status. Next slide, please. And then we have RFMG. So RFMG is a radio frequency mass gauge that's designed to measure the propellant, the cryogenic propellant. As you know, we don't have a way for a regular gas gauge to note how much fuel is left because there is no gravity in space. And so instead we use radio frequencies with RFMG to measure that. So they did do measurements during pre-launch, tanking, coast, transit, engine burns, and descent and landing. Next slide, please. This is some of the data that they gathered during the mission. You can see all the different phases in which they collected files. They were able to achieve their minimum success criteria. We did struggle in the beginning of the mission with getting communications to work properly. There was a lot of multipath data that many of you are familiar with, where as you have the data that's trying to stream across very low angles at the South Pole, it causes reflections off of the surface of the moon. And what that did is it caused a polarization flip that we didn't expect to have occur. And once they figured out that that was what the issue was, they were able to open up communications and communicate again with the lander, but at reduced levels. So we did get some data back from RFMG that's been very useful. Next slide, please. So the LOX methane then they got estimated values for Intuitive Machines that was able to actually help Intuitive Machines along the way, also to determine that the propellant tanks, the LOX methane tanks, were not actually leaking. They were unsure of this based on some temperature data that came back. So again, a great example of payloads helping the lander and the lander helping the payloads. Next slide, please. So this is just my final slide here, just to give you a view of what it looks like, what Odie's Forever Home is. You can see a picture with the sun in the background on the right-hand side, and that the lander is tilted on it's not horizontally tilted, but it's got a little bit of a tilt. So very proud of the entire team, Intuitive Machines, all of my payloads, and headquarters for working a mission that was incredibly fun, but also incredibly challenging in a really great way. As noted earlier, the off nominal really helps you to learn a lot of information, and failures can lead to successes. And that's what we did for Intuitive Machines. So with that, I am going to now hand over to our next speaker.